external hip rotation at the same time. The peak of this movement would look like this. This is the 90-90. So my right leg is internally rotated while my left is in external rotation. I'm not the ideal display of what this looks like. Ideally, this butt cheek would be on the ground. You can see that it's not. This knee should also be on the ground. My externally rotated leg, the knee would ideally be to the ground, and I can force it there if I lean. Okay, and that takes some of the strain off the internal rotation. However, what I can do is from here, I can regress this. Now it'll take the external rotation out, but I'm now just focusing on internal rotation. And so I'm basically in a hurdle stretch, and I'm going to plantar flex this foot. Okay, and
why?
From here, to put the foot in plantar flexion changes it just adds. So when you have, there's a nerve glide, that when you add plantar flexion, the focus changes into the hip. From, like I can feel this come in and out and relax. You're tensioning.
So it relaxes when you plantar flex.
So when I plantar flex, which muscles is it? It is that's right, so I'm tensioning my calf muscles, which in turn is gonna, like I can feel that really badly.
Yeah.
I actually can't think of
No, it's okay.
I'll have to double check on that, the exact like why behind that. But I know it's in plantar flexion and then butt cheek to ground. So like from here, I can, and it's okay if it's not like plastered against the ground.
Yeah, but just down.
It's not gonna feel like the left butt cheek does, but it's there. Like,
in the mirror, I can see it.
Yeah, it's close. Okay, so that's good for me. Back in the 90-90, I'll go the other way now. So you can also see, and you can test both ways, and you should have them test both ways because in most people your hips are different.
Okay.
So it might, like some people might present fine here, like, oh, my left butt cheek touches, but when I'm here, my right butt cheek doesn't.
Yep.
Or one's higher, and it's just good. So, but ideally, so when it comes to the hips, a lot of times the problem isn't tightness by itself. Two things come into play mostly when I think about it, which is the strength. It's a weakness issue. The muscles around the hip, the lateral, the abductors, the adductors, and the external and internal rotators are generally combination of those are weak. Mm-hmm. And what that leads to is a pelvic instability. So stability with the pelvis is actually what's affecting most of what's going on at the hip. So from here, a lot of people want to lean back or lean, and that's fine, but the best dynamic stability move, because that's what I'm truly looking for when I put someone through mobility, is to improve their dynamic stability instead of just static stretching. Yep. Great dynamic move is to cycle back and forth, keeping as tall of a torso as I can from here.
So you're saying this is a really good way, like you could do that hurdler stretch, but this is a really this is also a good way to work through this, like to understand how to create stability through while you're moving.
This is right. This is seeking dynamic stability versus just
like the static stretch.
A passive stretch right here. And I always prefer dynamic stability to a passive stretch.
So like this is something, the hurdler stretch is something you could do as like
post-workout.
Post-workout, yep. I'm just going to spend some time there. But then like as a good warm-up, you could get in that 90-90
and I would
move
start
back
and end in the 90-90. Moving back and forth, keeping up, and you can work through it. So I can work my torso through here,
twist a little
and I
more.
can fold, and then I can
like you would in the half
posture.
pigeon. Yep.
The other indicator of health, and I'm going to cramp up. I can already feel it. The other indicator of health in this position is I should be able to lift this leg up off.
Oh, that's right. And that flares up your
ideally,
TFL. Yep. There he goes.
Ideally, without putting my hand on the ground to leverage it. So if I put my hands on the ground, I have more leverage
can get there,
over that position. But up here,
he can't do it.
I haven't worked out for 4 days, so my muscles aren't great. But anyway, I should be able to stay dynamic and active in this.
And lift up the internally rotated foot.
And I can't at all. But like that's